Stabbing of a police officer at an airport in Michigan yesterday is being investigated as an act of terror. The alleged attacker is a Canadian citizen. He yelled Allahu Akbar and referenced people being killed in Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan. Zudi Jasser is with us. He's with the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Zudi, this guy goes to the airport. He eats in the airport restaurant. He leaves the restaurant, goes to the bathroom. He emerges from the bathroom with a 12-inch knife, steals up behind a police officer and stabs him in the neck and almost kills him. What got into this guy? What motivated this guy?
It's the same thing, Stuart. It's radical global jihadism, Islamism. As you heard, listen to what he said. You're killing people in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. It's what ISIS's narrative is all about, that somehow this is a war against the West. And he, at the end, said, we are all going to die. So therefore, here you have a Canadian citizen, homegrown, from Tunisia, similar to Mohamed Boulel, who committed the act in Nice last summer. He basically sees this as an end-of-time scenario, wants to continue in this, holy month of Ramadan that we're in. Many of us are celebrating our own internal personal relationship with God. This guy is part of a global jihad to commit as many acts in this summer of terror as possible in Ramadan. So it's the same narrative. It's not isolated. He's not a lone wolf. We are at war. And sadly, we've gone from having one a month to almost now one every day.
Well, Zudi, in the Quran, is this end of days scenario that you're talking about, is that talked about in the Quran? Is there such a thing, a cataclysmic end of times, end of the world?
It's certainly not the interpretation my family or any of us that are pro-Western, pro-American use, but it is the Islamist interpretation of those in the caliphate. And we have to realize these are not lone wolves. They are getting these interpretations of having to bring back Islamic states and the caliphate in part of this cataclysmic war from propaganda. Al Jazeera, that puts out anti-American, anti-Western stories saying that Americans are killing innocents in Syria, Afghanistan, is what gets into the minds of these. So if we're going to have a strategy to stop the Brussels, the London attacks, and now in Flint, if we're going to have a strategy, Stuart, we need to connect the dots. When you have Qatar Airways buying 10% of American Airlines, and us saying, oh, the propaganda coming out of House of Thani in Qatar that's radicalizing everyone in an anti-Western, anti-American way has nothing to do with these acts and interpretations of Islam. We have to stop and say, wait a minute, maybe it's not about the buck, but really about the propaganda war. We might be winning battles in Iraq and Syria, but Stuart, we're losing the war for the hearts and minds of pro-liberty Muslims in America and in the West.
Zudi Jasser, thank you very much indeed. We will indeed have more on Qatar Airways' suggestion of buying a stake in American Airlines. We'll have that later. But you have an interesting angle there. Dr. Jasser, thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.